Hi everyone, today I'd like to pass on some information that hopefully you'll find helpful and will clarify some questions that you might have. When dip powder came out about 3 years ago and was hailed as a healthy alternative to acrylic nails, I, as many of you have, I went out and bought some. I went out and bought a kit, and this is the kit right here by Cuccio Pro, and this is Powder Polish Nail Color Dip System Starter Kit. And this system has, and I'll show you what it came with. First of all, it has 5 colors, and let me see, these 3 little reservoirs for dipping, and then it also has 6 different bottles that are labeled according to steps. Okay, so the first one is nail primer. The second one is base and top coat. The third one is gel dip. And the fourth step is this one again. So this is step 2 and 4. Then step 5 is gel activator. Sorry about the sound. Step 6 is brush cleaner. And step 7 is milk and honey cuticle oil. And I wanted more dip powder colors, so I went out and I got some more. And I got these on AliExpress. And I swatched them. I'll tell you about the swatching in a second, but I got 7 more and they're very pretty. And so when I was swatching them, I was sort of in a rush. I didn't want to take all this stuff out that came in here, and that's the only thing that I have for dip nails. So I experimented to see whether using monomer with the dip powder would harden the powder just like it does with acrylic, and it did. So I created my swatches and I top coated them so that I can see how they look with top coat. But I said to myself, that's interesting. These dip powders reacted exactly like acrylic powder. So that was in the back of my mind. That stayed in the back of my mind. I always wondered, but you know, I just kept it back there. So then last year I was at Sally's and I saw this really pretty nude dip powder, and I believe there was a sale going on or some kind of discount or something, I don't remember, but it's called Strip Down. It's very pretty, and so I went out and I bought this. And in the back, mind you, in the back of my mind, I've had the fact that these powders reacted just like acrylic. So I started doing some research, and I wanted to know, first of all, what was in the dip powders. So in these dip powders in this kit, it was curious that no ingredients were listed on the jars, no ingredients were listed anywhere on the box, and no ingredients were listed anywhere on these 2 huge pamphlets that it came with. And so I said, okay. So then I decided that I'm going to take this dip powder and I'm going to compare it to my acrylics and see if it contains any similar ingredients. So I pulled out some of my acrylics. So me a secret, the number 1 ingredient, which is the highest concentration, is polyethyl methacrylate. And I said, So I looked at this one, and you know what? I am going to zoom in so you guys can see, but I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. So I looked on my dip powder, and the first ingredient, the number 1 ingredient, polyethyl methacrylate. Okay, so the Mia Secret acrylic powder, which is so pretty, the #1 ingredient is the same as the dip powder. So I went ahead and I compared it to my Crystal Nails acrylic powder, and again, same ingredients. Premium Nails, #1 ingredient, polyethyl methacrylate. By the way, some of these other ingredients are pigments. That's all they are. Okay, Diva DC. There it is, polyethyl methacrylate. Okay, and so I kept comparing, and I just showed you 4 of my acrylic powders. I kept comparing, and besides the pigments they contain, they all had the same #1 ingredient. The next thing I did was look at the ingredients in these bottles here. Step 2 and 4, ethyl cyanoacrylate. Step 3, ethyl cyanoacrylate. Bondini, Big Bondini brush on nail glue. And the ingredient, main ingredient, ethyl cyanoacrylate, which is the same thing as crazy glue. So I read up a little more on the claims that dip powder was healthier for nails than that dip powder was a healthy alternative to acrylic nails. The only difference is the monomer. So because you're not using monomer, they claim that it's healthier, but all you're doing is putting acrylic on your nails and you're applying it with crazy glue. So I made some dip powder of my own, and this is some pretty pale pink nail bed pink that I hadn't used because it was kind of pale, and I added some shimmer to it. Hope you guys can see that. It's very pretty. And I went ahead and I tested it with brush on nail glue, and I'm going to show you how you would do it so you guys can know. So the first thing you do is you have to take the surface of your nail. Of course, you have to buff it off, remove the shine, dehydrate, and file down the surface very gently to give it some teeth so it can hold on to the acrylic. Okay, so I'm going to do that in front of you to show you how you do this. Okay, you do it the same exact way. You take you prime the nail. I'm going to skip that step because this is just a sample. You know what? I'm not going to skip that step. I am going to use my precious Protein Bond, which I spilled the other day and I was so upset because that's the only little bottle I have. Okay, so layer of Protein Bond. Okay, I'm impatient, so let's hope this is dry enough. Okay. Alright, so you take your nail glue, you put a layer on the nail, and then you would dip the nail into the dip powder or something a little more sanitary, which I like to do is just sprinkle the powder on the nail. Okay, so that's the first layer. Okay, so you have to wait a little bit so it could dry because it's crazy glue just like this. Same amount of time you would have to wait with this dip system. So let's do it again. Let's put another layer on. So this would be step 3. Okay. You take some more acrylic powder or dip powder, same thing guys, and you apply it to the nail. Tap off the extra powder. And you can brush it off a little, just help it along. Brush some of that powder off. Okay, and then the last step, if you want, you can put another layer of dip powder on, or if that's enough, then you do your last step, which is you take your top gel, or it's not really gel, I don't know why they called it that. You put another layer of crazy glue on your nail. And you allow that to dry. Now, once that dries, then you have to buff it just the same way you would do with the dip system. Buff it, smooth it out, and then you put your final top coat on. Now, we put this aside so I don't spill it. Okay, so what happens once you dip your brush on glue in the dip powder a couple of times, it gets gunky, the acrylic sticks to it. So, alright, so I'm going to take my crazy glue or nail glue and I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to cover it, put that aside. Then I'm going to take my brush, because now the brush has to be cleaned, and I am going to put it in this little shot glass, and I'm just going to put some acetone in here and soak it for a few minutes. So while that's soaking, then I'm going to be working on the nail. This step would be the same as step number 6, brush cleaning. Cleaning your brush. Okay, because otherwise if you don't do this, you ruin your brush. Now you have to make sure you keep an eye on that. You can't leave it overnight, because I haven't done this, but I would assume that your brush might disintegrate. So let's see. While that nail is drying, I'm going to go ahead and just use a different acrylic powder, and this is an acrylic mix that I made a few years back. I've had it for a while, and neon is very big again, so I am going to use it just for fun. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and buff this one down, top coat on it so it could be nice and shiny, and I'll show you guys how it turns out. So while those two nails are drying, I'm going to take the Cuccio Passionate Pink, which I never used. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to use it with the nail glue to show you guys. So I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to buff them, top coat them with gel, and I will be right back, guys. I'm back. Here is the brush that I dipped in, that I soaked in acetone, and it seems to be okay now. So I'm gonna put that back into my nail glue. And here are the 3 nails that I created. This is the dip powder that I created right there with the shimmer and the pink, soft pink acrylic. Here's the glow in the dark neon acrylic mix that I created with a little bit of shimmer. And I used as dip powder. And here is the Cuccio dip powder that I used. But I got the same result with each thing. As I showed you, the main ingredient in the dip powder is the main ingredient in acrylic powder, and the main ingredient in the dip system base and top gel, the same ingredient in nail glue and crazy glue. So guys, we've been told that dip powder is healthier for your nails than acrylic. It's a healthier alternative, and that's simply the only thing that would make it a healthier alternative is that we're not using the monomer. But as far as going out and buying dip powder and spending tons of money and tossing your acrylic powders aside for dip powder, you don't have to do that. It's the same exact thing. They've duped us into believing that it's a different product, but it's not. So I hope this is helpful to you guys. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And if you stuck through the whole video until the end, I'm gonna have a little flash giveaway of some of my glitter mixes, maybe a little bit of my pink shimmer dip powder. I'll send something, but what I'll do is leave a comment and I will choose a winner from the comments. Now you must be subscribed. If you're not subscribed, then you're not eligible to win. Okay? And I in my other videos, if you guys are some of you guys are long-time subscribers, you know that I do have flash giveaways here and there, so stay tuned. I will be having a giveaway of some nail products coming up in a little while, so just keep tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe or you won't qualify. So that's it for now. Take care everyone, God bless, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.